Game day rituals are important, and including your hometown spirit shop, Harry's Liquor, in your tailgate or watch party is a sure bet. Harry's offers a full selection of beers, seltzers, liquors, and everything you need for cheering your hometown team to victory. Shop inside many Ball's Price Chopper and Sunfresh locations and get ready to rally.
Like trying to squeeze about 4 Christmases in 2 days.
And the big day yesterday, right? His birthday.
Oh yeah, it was
I know you
huge.
blew it out.
Blew it out. I was in bed by 10. It was great.
Now that Nevada is on the schedule, what's your reaction?
I think it's a good game. You know, they've won 5 in a row, I believe. Is that right, Chris? 5 in a row. And you know, we've coached against Steve quite a bit over time, coached against his top assistant Noodles. Known him a long time as well. And so, yeah, it'll be a good game. They're big. I mean, they're really big. I mean, they play 2 7-footers at the same time a lot and have big wings. And so it'll be a little different than what we had most of our games that we played, where we played against small and basically 4s that played 5s and 3s that played 4 and 2s that played 3s. This is going to be, you know, legitimate sizes for their respective positions.
Does that mean Dave faces a tough test?
Well, I think anybody, all our bigs, you know, they're going to play, I mean, 2 legitimate 6'11", 7-foot guys. And so, and then they got other tall guys that have been kind of the 5-man size that we've been playing against, playing the 4. So yeah, Dave be important. So will, you know, Mitch and Zach and KJ, you know, to this point, we haven't played 2 bigs, and I'm hoping we don't have to, because if they do play 2 bigs, one of them will be on the perimeter, you know, majority of the time. So maybe we can play up under that guy, but it'll be a challenge for our bigs.
Bill, you have 2 wings that are playing really, really good, and their shooting percentage is just crazy. And CB's at 62 or 3%, which is high. You never say the word best when it comes to your teams, but do they remind you of any other wings that you've had that played at a high level? And then also, you have 2 guys that are playing like point guards. Where does that help get them better shots?
You know, CB's a little different. One reason why CB is shooting a very high percentage is because he's not shooting enough 3s. You know, naturally, if Christian was shooting, Christian is attempting the same number of 3s that we had hoped he would make a game. So it's right around 2.7, 2.8. So if he was doing that, his percentages would come down, because obviously you're probably not going to shoot 50% from 3. But no, they're both having great years. I think Juan and Remy have done a good job of getting them shots. But I don't know if it's as much them from a number standpoint, because collectively they're averaging about 7 assists a game, I think. Isn't that about right? About 3.9 and 3.1 or something like that. Isn't that about right, Chris? You know, that's not a ton for 50 minutes or 55 minutes. So I think the ball movement has been a big reason why they've been getting shots, not just off of their penetration, even though it's helped, don't get me wrong, but I actually think that's something that we can improve on. I believe Remy and Juan should get more assists a game. Sometimes it's hard to get as many assists a game when you don't throw it to a big guy. You know, that's the easiest way to get an assist: throw it to a big guy and have him bounce it once and get a basket. And we haven't scored as much inside this year, but I think that they've certainly contributed to their success on shot selection. But I think ball movement by everybody's probably helped just as much as anything.
As far as that duo of wings, is there another duo of wings that you've had in your time at KU that you think kind of rivals how good those 2 have been so far?
Well, it's a little bit different. Yeah, there's been others. I don't know that we've had 2 play at the same time. It's off to a better start. But, you know, we used to play 2 bigs. So when you play 2 bigs, there's 1 less wing that you can have out there, so to speak. So since we started playing 4 guards, you know, these guys are really good, but, you know, Josh and Spee were pretty good too. You know, there's been some more that were really good also, but it's a little bit harder to make a comparison, because we usually play 2 little guards, a wing, and 2 bigs, and we haven't had the opportunity to play 2 wings very often. So they've probably been the 2 best true wings that we played with, maybe together since I've been here.
How much do the cancellations and just kind of all this craziness that's happening with your schedule right now, how much does that hurt your progress and development of the team doing what it typically does?
You know what, Matt? I don't know. Sean's done a great job on staying on top of that, and hopefully we'll have another announcement real soon on another game Saturday. Not yet, obviously, but I don't know that it's hurt our progress. We probably have worried more about ourselves, which is probably should help our progress. And we have opponents because we haven't known who we're going to play. So maybe that helps a little bit. But as far as, not playing the Colorado game, we needed to play a road game that was hard, that we'd have to grind and, have a crowd involved and knowing how to, take the crowd out of the game and that kind of stuff. We haven't had that yet because at St. John's, it didn't ever become that situation. So the next road game that we play will be our first really true road game. And I was hoping we get one in before the league play, but that's not going to happen. But that may have hurt some. I don't know, but I don't think it's been a deterrent.
Do you think you'll play Saturday?
Yeah, I think we'll play Saturday, but I don't know that for a fact. But I mean, we're working on it. So
Will it be non-con?
The way it looks right now, and I think I can speak definitely on this. Saturday's game will be a non-conference game. That game isn't going to be replaced with another conference team. So it will be a non-conference game if we get a game on Saturday, and I think that's a very strong possibility.
You said on your show, Stephen, that Boston might want to play.
No, they're out. They're out. I said that that was a talk that we had, but then they were eliminated themselves. So yeah, they're out.
I asked Ochai if he gave a New Year's resolution to the team, what would it be? He said defensive intensity. Do you agree with that? Would you add to it at all?
Well, I told them, we can't control a lot of things about this year. You can't control health, you can't control exposures, you can't control a lot of different things, but you can control being in a stance, you can control competing on that end, you can control hitting somebody every time the ball's shot, you can control certain things that we haven't done. So I think if Oach said that, that would probably be the right thing. Our defensive stats are misleading though. Our defensive stats are poor, but the biggest reason why they're poor is because of pace of play. Whenever you play faster and have more possessions a game, you give up more points. How many points you give up 4 out of 5 times doesn't have anything to do with how good you defend, in my opinion. Because if you play fast, there's more possessions, you're going to give up more points. If you play slow, less possession, you give up less points. It's not that complicated. And when you play fast, the game gets looser. Every coach will tell you this. When the game gets looser, the end that's most affected is the defensive end. It's the same, football. I hadn't thought this through. I'm just talking off the cuff. But in football, you huddle up every play. So everybody's fresh, everybody's set, everybody knows that this is our coverage, this is what we're trying to do. In basketball, when it gets going like that, there's no control. There's broken floor plays, there's bigs guarding littles, there's littles guarding bigs, there's bad matchups, there's a lot of things that happen, which good defensive teams obviously are able to play through and adjust with that and all those things. And something else that really affects your defensive numbers is your offense. If you turn it over, which we have done, we haven't turned the ball over much this year. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but when we do, it's for layups. It's like we have more live ball turnovers that lead to layups than anybody right now that I can see. Well, if you do that 4 times a game, the other team goes 4-4. It's hard to hold a team under 40% if you're giving up 4 uncontested layups. So I think there's ways that our defense will be better if we are better offensively in those situations. And if we can just tighten up some things that is obviously created by loose play, more open floors. And we've talked about that quite a bit. So our defensive numbers are not great, but they're not as bad as what you think they are, because you can't, well, they're giving up 67 points a game. That's the worst in the league. Well, yeah, we're scoring more points than everybody too. That it doesn't go hand in hand. But we'll find out how good we are defensively starting in league play, because teams that play slow or with not as much tempo in league play will slow us down, which will naturally slow the other team down also. So we'll know more starting up, but our defensive field goal percentage is not what it needs to be. But I really think if you take away 4 layups a game, it's probably right where it should be. And the other thing is our rebound margin, considering how small we've been playing, isn't bad. You know, if you're +7 and you're playing that small, that's not a bad number, regardless of who you're playing.
You already have the Saturday TCU game obviously postponed.
Yeah.
Do you think 18 is realistic, or are you still of the belief that it might just not be all the conference games?
I think it's still realistic for some teams. I mean, last year was realistic for us and nobody else. Yeah. I think last year probably prepped us for this, and Sean can address this. I think that rolling with it, playing 3 games in a week, I don't think coaches will look at it as much as advantage, disadvantage as they will. We just need to get the games in. Did everybody agree? It seemed like last year there was too much jockeying for position. Well, we're not healthy. We don't want to play. You know, we're not. I don't think there's going to be that this year. I think that I think if you can put a team out there, I think people put a team out there. And the way this thing's going, I just don't see there's going to be very many opportunities where you can't get 6 healthy guys, because everybody's 7 guys on their team's going to already have had it, or even if they haven't tested positive for it. So if you do have to test everybody, you're going to have 7 guys test negative. So I still think you're going to get your games in. Sean, you agree with that? So this situation right now in this particular week is magnified for one reason. Everybody went home, and many people brought stuff back with them when they went home. Totally understandable. It's happened all across America, everywhere. So maybe it's good to knock it out now. I do believe there'll be 1 or 2 weeks where everybody plays 3 games, but I don't think it's going to be anything that is to the point where, you know, Baylor last year, and I'm sure rightfully so, I'm not saying anything negative, they played 4 or 5 games less than everybody, less than us, which they still would have won the league. I mean, hand down, they were by far the best team. But then you get in a situation in the last couple of weeks where, you know, you want to play 3 games in a week, but you really don't want to play that back-to-back weeks, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. But, you know, that's the way I think the protocol is going to be now. It seems like to me, if you miss games, you want to do everything you can to make them up. And from a monetary standpoint with the athletic departments, you know, giving up home games and reimbursing or whatever you do, hopefully you don't have to do that. But giving up home games, that could be a pretty big significant loss. So I think everybody is going to want to get the games in.
Sounds like you won't be able to conference watch on Saturday because you'll be working, but the conference does start. A lot of great games. Iowa State, Baylor. You'll start with Oklahoma State, but just speak to what you're looking for. You've already mentioned it's maybe as good a conference as what you've seen.
You know what? I think it's better than what we've ever had, and we've had some great runs. I mean, you guys know better than me, but our league the last 6 years probably been #1 overall league 4 times, maybe 5 out of 6. So if you're going to rank so for instance, in the last 6 or 7 years, if you take the numbers in each year, and these aren't exact obviously because there's always outliers, but you take the numbers each year, we may add up to a 1.2 or 1.3, and the next league may be 3.1. You know, it's something like there's probably quite a bit of separation. And this year going into league, if I'm not mistaken, head and shoulders, the toughest league so far. I mean, we're looking at Iowa State and Baylor are combined 22-0 going into the first league game. TCU and us would have been a combined 19-2 going into the first league game. So yeah, this will be as good a league as we've ever had.
How is the team health after break?
Yeah, we've been, knock on wood, we've been good. So everybody's practiced. We that can change obviously overnight, but as of now, we've been good.
Coach Cal said today or yesterday that they're only testing when a guy is symptomatic.
I think
the way to go. Is that how you-
Oh, I don't know if that's the way to go, but I think that's how the majority of the teams in our league and in America are probably doing it. Testing if you're symptomatic. So,
You guys do.
what's that?
That's what you do.
Oh, I've been
I
tested.
mean, the Jayhawk team.
Yeah, that's what we're doing as well. Yeah. But if people have symptoms, you test them. So, but we've had numerous times that's occurred, but we've been fortunate on the outcomes.
Have you heard anything about the Okie State game? They're because they have COVID in their program.
Yeah, but it goes back far enough that shouldn't impact the second game at all. We could impact the second game.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen, but I think them impacting us the second game, Sean, you agree that probably shouldn't be a factor. So,
Any questions from the Zoom?
Coach, happy holidays. Hello?
is that Karen?
Yeah,
Hi,
it's
Karen.
me in the dark over here. The lights are off in our building. Anyway, Coach, have you changed your coaching with never knowing about a game? Do you prepare your bench differently, never knowing if a person's going to test positive? Out of this whole experience, has it changed you as a coach at all?
I don't think that. I think that's a great question. I don't think we've done much to change anything, Karen, other than when we practice. Probably don't practice with just 5 or 6 on the first team. Probably try to slide as many people into that situation, so there is a little bit more of a comfort level. I guess something in football, making sure your second team gets first team snaps. And so we're trying to do that as much as we possibly can.
Coach Andy Reid talks about adaptability. So do you feel now, as you've been coaching all these years, you're more adaptable now because of all this than you've ever been in your career?
All these years. Thanks so much, Karen, for
Well,
that.
hey, I'm older than you now. I can say that.
I don't know. I think I'm certainly more adaptable today than I was a while back. I think coaches and maybe football coaches are different than basketball coaches, but when you're dealing probably with 100 athletes or 80 athletes, everything is punctuated probably because it has to be that way because you're dealing with so many. And with basketball, it's not quite that way. So we're probably a little bit more flexible in how we can adjust and do things as what football coaches probably are.
Hey, Coach, Sam Lance with 24/7 Sports. Do you have any sort of update on Bobby Pettiford and his abdominal strain?
The update is he's still doing the same thing, which is almost nothing right now. He's doing spot shooting and very little things like that. But supposedly it's got to run its course before we can really test that. And as of now, we still got a couple of weeks probably to go before we'll know if we can put him out there and have him be, pretty much pain-free.
I also wanted to ask you about your young big men, KJ Adams and Zach Clements, and in what ways have you seen them progressing so far this year?
Well, I think Zach is coming fast. His hands are good. He's strength away, so let's not get too carried away. But the floor is more stretched with him in the game. I think we've been better offensively in practice many days with him in the game, just because it opens up other things for people that are pretty good at driving the ball and those sorts of things. I think KJ has kind of emerged as maybe our second best defender behind Juan. I like where he is. Offensively, I don't want to say behind, because there's some things he does actually as well as anybody else on the team as far as moving the ball and driving the pass and those sorts of things. But we probably have more confidence in KJ at this juncture defensively than offensively, and probably more with Zach offensively than defensively, to be candid. But they're both going to be really good players, really good.
Beginning your tenure, you played Nevada 3 times. What do you remember about that series against Trent Johnson and Coach Fox?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, what did we go 1-2? Yeah. So they beat us twice, and when we played them out there the first time, we got. I think the final score was only like 13, but it felt like 20, 25. That was the last game before Christmas. And I remember calling all the families after we got back and, dreading so much to talk to them just because we were so bad in the last game. And then everybody said, "Oh, come on, coach, it's Christmas," so kind of got past that. But I definitely remember sitting in the car and making all those calls. And then the second, I can't remember the second time we played them. Was that Fazekas or is that the?
Fazekas played, but you guys beat him by 30 here.
Yeah, beat them pretty good here, and then they came back, and Fazekas had 35, and I think it was 35 on the nose, if I'm not mistaken. They beat us on the last possession, so that's one of our 15 losses in the building, and they played great. So our first year we played them, they had an NBA player named Kurt Snyder that was terrific. I mean, they were really good. We were in the same regional. And Georgia Tech beat them in a good game in the Sweet 16, and we beat UAB in the Sweet 16, and so we missed each other in the tournament. But they've had a good program and a good run.
And Dave had to go back as a freshman when maybe, I think after the game you said it'd been nicer if they waited to bring Padgett back.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember 19 years ago, but
Remember Dave Padgett?
yeah, I remember Dave Padgett. He played here, made a big basket against Missouri. So yeah, Dave was great. But yeah, that was, I'm sure that was a deal that Roy had worked out with the Padgett family. If you pick us, we'll go out there and play a game with anticipation that he probably wasn't going to be a 4-year guy. So that's done sometimes in recruiting.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Bill.